there, I'm Noelle Poison. I'm with the Office of Emergency Management. I'm the Deputy Director for Public Affairs. And I'm sitting here with Dan Bradley, our new director with the Office of Emergency Management. And I've known him since 2011 when we both started. And now I want you all to get to know him a little better. So Dan, it's almost like you've been preparing for a career in public service your entire life. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so, I started working in the private sector, but growing up, my father was active in local politics on the school board. My mother was a teacher, very strong influence from my father, civil engineer, and, supported me throughout Boy Scouts and a lot of my upbringing to really appreciate civic responsibility. I ended up working in the private sector, like I said, for a few years, working in architecture and building design. And one of the more interesting projects I worked on was related to Homeland Security. And I had a chance to work with the NYPD and see what the government side of what protecting local communities looks like. And it really piqued my interest. And my wife had an opportunity to move to Philadelphia, and at that time I thought move would be good. And I came and I applied for an entry-level position at OEM, actually something that had never existed previously, a Homeland Security planning position that supported the police department. So that was my entry into public service.
You've been loving it every day since then.
I love it. It's every day is different. And one of the things I really enjoyed in my previous career was solving all of these very difficult problems. And you work with very different stakeholders to sort of align goals and sort of reach a common good. And it's the same thing in government, specifically in public safety. And appreciating problems, public safety for the sixth largest city in the nation has its fair share of difficult preparedness problems to solve, and it's something that I'm lucky we have such a great team and great partnership with all of our stakeholders to begin to really work these issues out.
And so, when you mentioned that you moved to Philadelphia in 2011, what do you love most about this city?
I love the neighborhoods. Philadelphia really is a community of neighborhoods. Having done this job for several years, on a long enough timeline, you respond through all parts of the city and get to know them very well. And I'm always amazed during emergency incidents, the level of support that comes from the community to help those that are displaced to recover, those that offer their doors for temporary refuge and support during severe weather. It's a city that really looks to take care of one another in times of crisis.
Completely agree with that assessment.
Yeah.
And so you mentioned that when you first started at OEM, it was a brand new position, a brand new program. So since then, what's one or two things that you're most proud of that you've worked on here?
I think the tremendous ability for OEM to serve as a place of innovation for city public safety and to support our very large departments of police and fire that have tremendous capability really begin to manage these very large events that come to the city. The Papal Visit in 2015, the Democratic National Convention. I'm most proud that we as a public safety team have been able to make those events wildly successful, extremely safe and enjoyable for everyone that came, and it's just a testament to the dedication within the public safety family, because that's what it is in Philadelphia, about commitment to doing the best good.
Is there a certain project that you worked on in that time that you're really proud of as well?
I think a lot of the long-term problems we look to solve around how to deal with disasters and getting the right resources, every now and then there comes along a smaller problem that's a little bit easier to fix. It doesn't require as much stakeholder engagement and funding, and one of the things we tried to solve for years was locating people who needed help on the Parkway. We did a national search for best practices. We looked at a number of different ways that communities have identified areas for mass events. We looked overseas, and we came up with a relatively simple system. We funded it out of our pocket for the pilot program. They were styrofoam signs the first year, but it's morphed into the Parkway grid sign system that's on the Parkway for large events. And it's a fantastic system because it gives us the ability to locate folks that need help with greater accuracy than just giving a street and a cross street. And so when our police and fire are working these large events on the Parkway where it's shoulder-to-shoulder crowds, this lets us give a much more precise location to route those resources and We make the system available to the public too, so when they call 911, look for the nearest sign on the parkway. It'll help us get to you faster.
I mean, Dan failed to mention that when we were doing the pilot, he was actually out there in his shirt and tie hanging the signs himself too. I mean, we really are all hands when it comes to solving problems in the city of Philadelphia. And so you have all these years of experience at OEM. You're now leading our agency. You're also a student right now in a grad program where you're looking at national best practices and trying to figure out how to solve problems. Where do you see emergency management going?
Emergency management, specifically for this city, is at a really interesting point. And you've heard us say many times that the citizens of this city are the public and public safety. And that's something that we want everyone to understand, that we have tremendous resources. Our partners in police and fire and all the other support departments have tremendous capability. But at the end of the day, we really need the citizens' help too. And that comes from signing up for alerts, collecting information from us when we put it out, and making sure that they're prepared themselves. I think we have tremendous ability to build resiliency in this city where citizens are prepared, they know how to get trusted sources of information, and that's going to help us make our jobs that much easier.
Thank you so much, Dan, for taking the time to talk to us. If you're interested in learning more about Dan and his experience and his commitment to service in the city of Philadelphia, check out our website, phila.gov/ready. You can also follow Dan on Twitter at Dan Bradley, PHL, and of course also follow at Phila OEM. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.